Tonight's Reckoning!
Hey everyone, it's Deke. I'm finally back from my excursion in Diablo 4 to bring you another Diablo Crusader guide. This one's going to be the Inferno Crusader, so Paragon 800 plus. There's a ton of new content in the game. There's also a 1500% XP boost to those of you who aren't at Paragon 800, so you can catch up pretty fast. You'll be able to not only equip 2 new items, you'll also have stances that you can move between, and you're also going to get access to more resonance because you're going to be able to put more legendary gems into those new items. Okay, let's get into the build. I'm going to cover some things that I have talked about in previous videos, but this will be updated for the Inferno difficulty. Okay, for the skills, we're going to be using Sacred Fire as the primary, Holy Banner, Condemn, Drawing Quarter, and Pouncing Shield. Now, I feel like there's a lot more flexibility with these 2 new item slots, but keep in mind for this video, we're talking about primarily PvE-focused endeavors. Now that we have 2 weapon slots, we can actually add 2 essences to our Sacred Fire primary attack. We're going to use the Horn Splitter on one of the weapons, which is giving us a damage over time effect. And on the other weapon, we're going to be using the Bristle, which is going to give us some AoE damage. Now, to augment our first skill here, Holy Banner, we're actually going to be using 2 different essences for this as well. The Helm Essence, we're using Arrow Keeper, obviously. We've talked about this in every video. It's a meme by now. And we're also going to be using the Offhand Essence, Peer of Sturbin, which is going to be extending the duration of Holy Banner as you kill enemies within its radius. Okay, moving on to our next skill, we're going to be taking Condemn, and we're going to be using the Akarat's Rebuke Chest as our essence. This is going to be imbuing our primary attack with some skill damage, which is going to actually combo off of one of the new Paragon trees we're going to be using. Of course, we're going to be summoning our trusty steed with Drawing Quarter, and we're going to be using the Bladed Jambo on the legs, which is turning it into a fiery steed, burning the ground, basically doing damage to everything. And you're also going to augment this with the Sivket's Advantage Shoulders, which is going to extend the duration of horse. So with enough beneficial effect duration and cooldown reduction, you can stay on your horse almost permanently. But when you're not mounted, that's going to bring us to this last skill, Pouncing Shield. Now, I've been using this skill in PvP for a long time, but let me tell you, Pouncing Shield has explosive damage. So I find that this is very powerful for blowing up bosses, purple elites, things in hidden layers, stuff that's hard to kill. Pouncing Shield will get the job done. You combo that with your banner, everything's going to die. I don't think there's any surprise here. We're going to be using the 4-piece Urges set so that we get extra beneficial effect duration and we get attack speed for the entire party. This combo is just too good to pass up for the Crusader. For my 2-piece, I like to use the Shao Boss, which gives me 15% increased damage on my primary attacks. You're primary attacking quite a lot in this build. Now, having said that, I don't run any gems that have damage over time effects on them. So if you are running things like Seeping Bile or Everlasting Torment, I would suggest using the Banquet of Eyes. This is a really powerful set for your 2-piece as well. Just due to the insane synergy we get from the Ghosted set on the cursed items, this is going to be really good just because you're going to get some damage mitigation, which you kind of need in Inferno, to be honest, and you're going to get that attack speed anytime you're in the radius of your clone that spawns. So I would still say Ghosted is probably the best set to run with all the beneficial effects we're using as a Crusader. Invocations and Ancestral Property gear seems to be dropping more frequently now, so if you are going to run Invocations, it's absolutely the best to run the Stun with a little damage on it. This is just super powerful no matter what you're doing in the game. Okay, let's talk about some of the new stuff here. We have stances, so this is pretty interesting. For the Crusader, we have the Focus Stance, which is giving us a crit strike buff when you activate it, but you also get a 10% flat crit buff when it's in passive mode. If you change to the Defensive Stance, you're getting a shield for 30% of your maximum health, and you also will get a 10% flat damage reduction if it's in passive mode. So you can alternate back and forth between these. There's a cooldown on it, so you can't just spam it infinitely, but you can kind of use these strategically. If you're taking a lot of damage, you can get a shield. But generally, you want to stay in the Focus Stance and get the extra crit, which is actually making the crit damage of your banner more powerful. Okay, so we've got some new Paragon boards, the first of which will unlock when you reach Paragon 800. The second, Weaver, will unlock once you've completed the last Inferno raid boss, unlocking Inferno 2. So Weaver, I think, is a really cool and interesting Paragon board, especially for Crusader and the way I build the Crusader. You're constantly changing from primary attack to skill attack. So you're triggering a lot of these special abilities that this Paragon tree has to offer. You're basically getting a stacking damage buff every time you use a primary attack or a skill. They have to change back and forth. Since we're using Condemn on our primary attack, we're basically triggering 2 of these at once. So this thing stacks up really fast. Once you have the last node in the tree, the last square talent, this will stack up to 15 times. You're getting a 15% damage increase. You'll also be getting a 6.5% crit strike increase. And on top of that, you're going to be triggering an explosion every 30 seconds. So this tree is pretty incredible. It kind of has everything. Now, if you are running with a party, I would still recommend using Mastermind if you have 4 unique classes in the party. That's going to give your whole group great benefits. But in solo play, I would go for the Weaver. And then if you're going to be doing speed farming, I would go for Massacre. Now, the way I prioritize my stats in my Paragon tree is I take all the damage nodes, then I take all the armor penetration nodes, then I take all the health nodes, and then armor resistance after that. But say you don't want to have to save your Paragon loadouts separately, you can take all of the points you want in Weaver, Mastermind, and Massacre and then work that stat priority, and that'll make it a little easier. But if you want to really min-max, you want to save your Paragons individually with all of your builds in your closet. Okay, we're almost at the end of this video, but I get a million questions asking me about legendary gems. Now, I don't include legendary gems in my builds because they're not easy to come by. A player is going to acquire the legendary gems that they have in each piece of gear, and they're more than likely never going to get another legendary gem. But I will just quickly go over what I have. I have a Berserker's Eye, a Blessed Pebble, a Bottled Hope, a Blood-Soaked Jade, a Blessing of the Worthy, a Phoenix Ashes, a Frozen Heart, and a Chip of the Stone Flesh. Before we get out of here, I'll show just a little gameplay where we're just totally annihilating some mobs that have millions of health. Here's a Lair Guardian in Inferno with 2.4 million health. I think we kill him in under 5 seconds, so gives you an idea how powerful the build is. I hope you're all enjoying the new Diablo Immortal content, and if you're playing D4, I hope you're having fun in that as well. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Hit me up with any questions or comments you have in the comments section below. Please subscribe. Oh yeah, and by the way, thank you so much for the 1K subscriptions. I'm finally monetized the channel. That's really awesome. I appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Happy crusading.